In today's episode, you can once again look forward to 3 interesting topics from the field of space exploration. We'll start with a successful return to service. The suborbital carrier New Shepard took off again after 15 months. The American probe Psyche transmitted data via laser over a record distance, and it wasn't ordinary data at all. Finally, we'll look at the launch of the Chinese Hyperbola-1 rocket. On December 19th at 1643 Universal Time, and after a 15-month-long break, the B-3 oxygen-hydrogen engine ignited, and the suborbital carrier New Shepard took off from the Corn Ranch base in Texas.
Mission Control confirms that New Shepard has cleared the tower and is headed to space. You can see on the lower left side of your screen that we're gaining speed. As New Shepard gains altitude, the atmosphere gets thinner. The graph on the left shows vehicle...
Blue Origin, the company operating these suborbital carriers, conducted a total of 4 launches last year. The first 3 had a 6-member crew on board, and the 4th on September 12th, 2022, carried only experiments. And that was a good thing. Due to a malfunction on the carrier, the emergency system had to be activated, which carried the cabin away. The investigation of the accident and the application of the knowledge gained from it took more than a year.
Of the PM, the propulsion module moving away from Earth.
But back to the current mission. On board the RSS H.G. Wells cabin, there were a total of 33 experiments from NASA, academic institutions, and commercial companies. We would also find 38,000 postcards from students around the world. These belong to the nonprofit organization Club for the Future, which is part of Blue Origin. The RSS H.G. Wells cabin has been used for the 10th time. Blue Origin currently uses this cabin for its unmanned missions, and it was this cabin that had to activate its emergency system last September.
It's Texas. Now, if you watch that ticker on the lower left...
The carrier rose vertically, and after the engine was turned off, the cabin separated from the propulsion unit. After reaching the highest point of the trajectory at an altitude of 107 kilometers and 60 meters, the cabin began to fall back to Earth. For a few tens of seconds around the highest point of the jump, the cabin experienced reduced gravity.
Apogee for the capsule at 351,247 feet, well into space and over the Kármán line. Fantastic mission for our payloads on board today.
The first to land was the propulsion unit, flying for the 9th time. It first slowed down using aerodynamic brakes, and the final deceleration was provided by the BE-3 rocket engine burn. As is typical for this machine, it remained suspended a few meters above the concrete surface, before the sensors checked everything properly. In the end, it landed softly.
I can't tell you how many people have told us they thought that this looks like CGI, but indeed one of these most beautiful shots in the West Texas desert. We have booster touchdown.
Congratulations, New Shepard propulsion module.
Just a few tens of seconds later, the cabin with experiments and postcards also landed. However, unlike the propulsion unit, it did not land with rocket propulsion, but with proven parachutes. In October of this year, the American probe Psyche entered interplanetary space, which is to arrive at the metallic asteroid of the same name in 2029. Before that, however, it is supposed to test the DSOC laser communication demonstrator. Space probes have been communicating with Earth using radio waves for decades. This proven principle, however, has its limitations. As the quality of onboard sensors increases, so do the requirements for sending collected data. If laser beams were used instead of radio waves, it would be possible to transmit the same volume of data much faster, theoretically up to 100 times faster. Laser communication is already quite commonly used in orbit around Earth. After all, Starlink satellites from SpaceX are equipped with laser terminals. Experience is still lacking for use in deeper space. After all, it is necessary to precisely direct the laser beam towards Earth. Before the Psyche probe tests, laser communication was used furthest on the orbit around the Moon. The goal of the DSOC device is to test laser transmission to the maximum distance from Earth to Mars, but that is still far away. However, another success has come. On December 11th, the DSOC technological demonstrator was ready to transmit data at a speed of 267 megabits per second. At that time, the Psyche probe was 31 million kilometers from Earth, and the laser signal traveled at the speed of light for 101 seconds. While large bundles of randomly generated data are usually used for these tests, this time the team used something more memorable. The transmitted file was this video in Ultra HD resolution. In the video, we see a cat named Taters trying to catch the light trail of a laser pointer. The 15-second video also hides various interesting data. For example, the cat's heartbeat, the trajectory of the Psyche probe, or technical information about the laser. On December 17th at 7 o'clock Universal Time, the Hyperbola-1 small rocket launched from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. The Hyperbola-1 rocket is a creation of the Chinese company iSpace. It was its 6th launch, and since it was successful, the rocket has an equal number of successes and failures. It succeeded at its premiere in 2019, but then came a series of 3 accidents. Hyperbola-1 is just under 21 meters tall and will carry approximately 300 kilograms of payload to low Earth orbit. It is a 4-stage solid-fuel launcher. Its technological origin is likely related to the military DF-11 or DF-15 missiles. The rocket delivered the payload named Deer-1 to orbit. There is not much information, but it is supposed to be an experimental return capsule. The development of this capsule is led by the company Azaspace. Thank you for your attention to today's episode of Spaceflight News. We are delighted in your interest in space news, and to ensure you do not miss future episodes, kindly consider subscribing to our channel. Additionally, you can find other interesting news on our profile on social network X, formerly known as Twitter. The link can be found in the video description.